Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer Pokiman. Why is it called that? What is this? Obviously a reference to Pokemon, right? What's the gag? What's the joke? I have no idea. I can't find any information that specifically relates this to Pokemon, right? But it's basically like what everybody's dad or uncle, like when they know how to say Pokemon and they say Pokeman, like, I don't know what these kids like and their Pokemans, right? Like they don't know how to say it. You know how to say it. But maybe that's the joke there. I don't know. I know that there's a few different blade shapes here that you can get. I think there are 4 different blade shapes. And the idea is you get the versatile, super ergonomic, and very basic ergonomic profile. You get all that. But then you can choose the blade shape that you want. Maybe like a starter Pokemon? I don't know. I don't know why they called it. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And the base price of these comes in at $59. So not bad. And honestly, it's a nice little knife. And this particular one in like the dark blue aluminum with like the copper accents is super classy. It's nice looking. Very inexpensive. Kizer quality. Straightforward. Very cool. I'm going to do my usual review thing, give you guys all the details. These are available. I'll link them down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Thanks to Kizer for sending this in, and make sure your notifications are turned on for my YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and measure it. Overall length of the Pokiman, 7¼ inches. Blade length, 3 1/8. Cutting edge, 3 inches. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom scales, custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against my full-size Excalibur and the small Excalibur, this guy is actually exactly the same overall length as the small Excalibur. It just looks smaller because whatever's on the bottom looks the biggest because of the perspective. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. It is also exactly the same overall length as the Para 3. It's just much more compact. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action on this knife? This is a Kizer clutch lock, so it's like an axis lock, right? I think a lot of people would say they should have done the Kizer, the top liner lock or whatever. I think it's good that Kizer does knives in the style of top liner lock and the clutch lock for people who just have the preference with the, Omega Spring operated crossbar locks, right? Ambidextrous, right? Some people just prefer it. It's a great system. Kizer has one of the best ones out there. We don't want them having, obviously nobody wants, any company's entire line to be crossbar locks. We also don't want their entire line to be top liner locks. Usually Kizer does multiple variations of the same model where they have, like, for example, the Sheepdog is like every locking system that they've ever done is on the Sheepdog. That would be nice. I'll say the same thing about this crossbar lock that I've been saying about all crossbar locks. We are ready for a universal improvement where we ditch the Omega springs and we include a coil spring. Very soon on this channel, you're actually going to see a great example of that with a company who went ahead and did it. This is the same reliability as crossbar locks, which the crossbar lock is a very strong locking system. It's just that the Omega springs, seem to sometimes, not always, but sometimes Omega springs fail, and it's just annoying. A coil spring is going to increase the likelihood of the thing never failing 1,000-fold, right? So crossbar locks are fine. Everybody's kind of bored with them, but this works, and Kizer does a good job with it, so that's fine. What were we talking about? Was it action? The action's great. It's exactly what you'd want it to be. Obviously, the crossbar lock creates the detent here. We have fairly high tension Omega springs, and it feels pretty good right out of the box, honestly. It's about what I would prefer when it comes to Omega spring tension. It's very, very easy to manipulate and it feels very natural, so I have no complaints there. Carry profile thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's slightly thinner. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Where did you go? There you go. PM2 is just invisible to me. Very easy to carry. Very lightweight, small, compact, right? But not too small. Let's go ahead and weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? AEBL for the blade, which is fine. And we have this sort of blue jeans aluminum. And your carbon, not carbon fiber, your micarta and G10 versions, especially the acrylic versions, will weigh less. The aluminum one is already coming in at ultra lightweight, 2.9 ounces. So whichever version you get is going to be ultra lightweight. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I am missing my oh, good. There it is. I was going to say, my T8 bit. T8 for the pivot. Same over there. Pocket clip screws are T6. We have a T8 screw for the frame screws right here. So yeah, as long it's a crossbar lock, so it's not the most fun thing to take apart, but as long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's measure the blade stock thickness here and get into the meat and potatoes. Blade stock thickness coming in at 104 thousandths, so nice and thin. All right, very straightforward design. Again, love the fact that we're doing this kind of coppery finish on the studs and on the axis lock. I guess they're also studs, clutch lock, whatever. Missed opportunity to do the liners the same way. God, that would have been super cool. I think I would go ahead and do like everything. I would have, man, if the pocket clip, I think it would have been a lot more expensive, but that finish on the pivot, the pocket clip, the hardware screws, and the liner, God, that would have been super cool. But I think for a lot of people that would just be overkill, be a little flashy, right? So that's very subjective. But I think that would have been neat. I do like that they do it though. There's a bunch of different variations of this knife, so you can kind of get, you can get the one you want. That works. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make this any different than a lot of other pocket knives though. So I'm still confused about the name. I think I don't know. I don't know what they were doing there with it, but whatever. It makes people think of Pokemon, so whatever. It says Pokiman right there. I don't know why they have to put it on the blade, but there it is in case you forget what it's called. The choke up spot is really nice, and the jimping right here is also nice. Ergonomically, the whole thing is slightly blocky, but they've chamfered the edges down, so it does feel good. This is like the double clip point version. There's also a sheep's foot version, a drop point version, and I think there's like a reverse tanto or something like that. I think they're all good. I think they're just fine. The size of this is good. Everything just feels right. Your cutting geometry down at the edge is fairly thin, so I don't think any of the blades are going to be bad. They have like their typical black wash satin, and I think maybe one other option there, so you just pick the one you want. We have a lanyard hole right here. You have mounting positions for both left and right-handed people, as it should be with an ambidextrous locking system. We have 3 standoffs for some reason. I'm not sure why. I've seen this before. I don't know why companies do this. Why did we need that standoff? Like, why couldn't you just use 2? It's weird. Okay, it's not really hurting anything, right? Your stop pin is located right here, and your closed position stop pin, I believe, is actually the crossbar lock itself, which looks like it engages way back here. So your actual, like where it engages, yeah, it's not even close to, you can see the engagement. It's not even close to the plunge grind, which, by the way, I'll let you guys take a look at right there. So, I'm sorry, no blade play up, down, left, or right, no lock stick, no pivot lash. Fairly smooth. It does run on bearings. I'm sure you guys could have guessed that. I'm going to make sure here. Yeah. Sometimes I'm surprised, right? But it's bearing action. And then your centering is, I believe, perfect. Yes. Keep my fingers off that blade there. Very straightforward, very simple knife. This does not require a really, in-depth review. I think that this is fine. It's a lot like a lot of other stuff on the market. It's a little interesting with the name and the fact that it comes with like 4 different blade shapes out of the gate, which isn't necessarily something that I always see. Maybe, like down the road. Some cool configurations, and honestly, for the entry price of this is $59. It's pretty cool. The aluminum variations are going to run you $69 giggity, but it's also still, I mean, like it's right there in the ballpark of fine. It's not like blowing me away. Kizer makes a really nice product. AEBL it's fine, right? It's not anything incredibly special. A lot of people really enjoy it for fixed blades, but typically, you know, on a folding knife, it's fine. I think the price is fine. I think the design is good. It's straightforward, utilitarian. It's a good option for people who are newer to knives and wanting to get their first good knife, or just people looking to scratch the itch and buy a cool budget knife. I think this is pretty well-rounded. There's not really anything bad here. There's not really anything spectacular here either. It's just pretty straightforward. Generally speaking, this is not a knife that I would say you need to beat down doors to get, right? There's a lot of really good knives in this territory, and Kizer makes a lot of them, but it is a good, cheap knife. It's a good knife that, I shouldn't say cheap, inexpensive, right? So I'm going to put it in my Cheap Knives I Like playlist, which I should change the name to Inexpensive Knives That I Like, because cheap implies that it's poor quality. But I'm going to put it in that playlist because it's a good knife and it's under 75 bucks. That's it today, guys. Short and sweet. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.